Good evening, Dr. Jones, my fellow classmates, and guests. My name is Chris Bailey, and I'm here to talk about the product design cycle. Have you ever had an idea to make something but didn't know how to get it from your hand to production? Well, I'm here today to inform you on how to do that. Mechanical design engineers have used this model-based design process, and it's been proven over time. Mechanical engineering is something that's a passion to me. I take great pleasure into actually making something that's a concept and then cycling it all the way through into an actual object. It's fun. It's something I enjoy doing. The product design cycle has 3 levels to it. The 3 levels are concept, development, and production. And having definitive milestones for development are something that's essential to this process. I want to go ahead and read the sources that I derived this project from. The American Society of Mechanical Engineers, 14.41 Product Design Definition Data Practices. Also, the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, 14.5 Dimensioning and Tolerancing. American Society of Mechanical Engineers, 1400.100 M, does engineering drawing practices, and Standard Practice Technical Data Packages, Mill Standard 31,000, and lastly, Mill Standard 3046, Interim Standard Practice of Configuration Management. Okay, and the purpose of the product design cycle was created to establish guidelines for hardware development. As I mentioned earlier, 3 levels or phases to it: concept, development, and production. But first, let's talk about some of the things you're going to need in order to begin your actual development. Firstly, the critical stakeholders that are involved. You have your design authority, which is the customer or your person that actually gives you the technical requirements for your design of the product. You're going to have your design activity, which is your mechanical engineer that is responsible for the design. And you're going to have a configuration control board, and they are comprised of technical, logistics, management, and administrative support personnel to approve or disapprove of the design. And you're also going to need some things before you go ahead and begin your first cycle or phase, which would be you want to validate your technical requirements. Now, this could be as simple as a sketch that you basically write on a note sheet of paper or something like that of the idea that you want, or as detailed as a technical data package that has formal technical requirements, information, engineering notes, standards, and criteria that you have to satisfy. You're going to also need to define your schedule. That way you can evaluate what best resources you're going to need in order to produce your product. And also, you're going to need to establish your team. This is where before you're going to need to determine who your configuration control board is going to be, and your design authority and activity. But once you get all those scenarios and people put in place, you're going to go ahead and have a design cycle kickoff. Okay, so now that we are beginning our concept level and beginning our phase, my sources indicate that you're going to need to create a proof of concept or engineering development model. Now, this can be a digital prototype, an arrangement drawing set, functional requirements, and a draft package. And this is all derived from the technical requirements that are given to you. So this is an example of a block diagram. So I'm just going to hold it up. A block diagram is basically going to show you your major components. So your proof of concept or your EDM, you're going to have a bunch of different components of hardware that you're just basically going to lay on a table and then functionally connect it. So in order to do that or begin, you're going to have to source the parts and then see if you're going to need to make wire harnesses or electrical connections or whatever you're going to need in order to do that and find the functional solution to your product. So you come up with a basic outline or diagram. Then from that diagram, you move on to a more defined actual arrangement drawing. Now, this isn't something that you're actually going to have go into production. This is just going to prove your concept, prove that this is what this is going to work. We call this an arrangement drawing. Once you have your arrangement drawing, you can also do a digital pre-production unit. Once you have all these, your pre-production unit and your arrangement drawing, you're going to have a concept design review where you're going to have your configuration control board review the product that you initially want to design. You don't want to waste a lot of time in making something that nobody wants. So this is where it gets approved and you go to the next phase. But before you can go to the next phase, you need to have some critical milestones that need to be achieved. My sources indicate that you're going to have a hardware lockdown, so you're going to have to know the components that you're going to put in the system. Your block diagrams, an approved EDM that meets your functional and physical requirements, and you're going to also need your conceptual digital model approved. All right. So now that we are entering our developmental level, level 2 as that's called, this is where you have the majority of the work is done. The true intent of your level 2 is to basically produce a one-off model for what is going to go into production. So you don't want to make 50 of something that's not going to work. You created your baseline from the original level 1. Now you're in a stage where you're going to actually try to incorporate all the different tangible properties as well as specifications into a unit that will be able to be produced and manufactured. So you want to create a baseline preliminary drawing package, which is derived from the actual model that you initially created in the prior level. This is also takes a critical step is that you're going to initiate configuration management. Now, configuration management is basically so you don't have multiple items with the same name. So this is where you can establish a revision. So you don't want to have 2 items with the same name but they're different. And this is real critical when you get into production because in order to fix something or to replace something, you can't have multiple items with the same name because you'll get lost and it'll never get fixed. But you're going to also, in this level, produce a pre-production unit where you integrate your hardware and your software, and you're going to test your pre-production unit, your one-off system, to make sure it meets its standards. Once you've gone through the attrition of developing the product and you have a final product that is what you want to have as production, you present that to your customer or your design authority for approval in the configuration control board. Some of the milestones for that to move to the next phase would be a pre-approved production model, final level 2 preliminary drawing package, and a pre-production unit that's met all the criteria of testing. This would be an example of your pre-production unit. So it originally starts off as an arrangement. Then this is what the model would look like for a pre-production unit, and this is what we're essentially trying to create. So now that we have a full production maintenance and unit, according to my sources, we want to go ahead and provide this to different departments and entities throughout your design phase or your production. You're going to have logistics that are in charge of actually sourcing the parts from this actual production drawing. You're going to have your vendors that utilize the drawing to make the actual part. You have your integrators that actually or assemble the actual product, and you're going to have your quality assurance that's going to check or QC the actual part that's being created according to your drawing. And configuration management is also a key essential component of this production phase. That way you're able to track revisions and do different design options that are available to you. Now, the main function of this level is to distribute, track, and accurately update drawings of the product. And this is what you're going to be actually controlling. This would be considered a level 3 drawing. And this is the essential component that is universal throughout the manufacturing life cycle. This way, this is tracked and it's simple enough that it's all standards and is uniform throughout the world basically. Everybody uses the same standards. In conclusion, the product design cycle provides a clear developmental path from concept to production, reduces rework, time, and cost, and gives the engineers flexibility to make revisions and copy designs. Also gives you a structured configuration management plan. Are there any questions? Okay, I want to thank you very much for your time and consideration.